For 60 years, New Cascadia was a symbol of hope, a human colony built on green valleys and snow-capped mountains, a world without war, without fear. 18 million people lived ordinary lives, children walking to school, families building futures, humanity believing it had finally found peace among the stars. That belief died in 3 hours. Hidden behind New Cascadia's moon, 200 warships waited in silence. They belonged to the HFY Dominion, an ancient empire that had ruled through fear for 10,000 years. To them, other species were not neighbors, they were resources. At 9:47 a.m., the sky burned. Defense stations fell in minutes. Cities vanished under orbital fire. Streets filled with screaming civilians as entire districts collapsed into ash. For 6 hours, the bombardment continued until nothing recognizable remained. Then came the landings. The HFY did not come to conquer, they came to harvest. The elderly and sick were executed. The young and strong were chained and dragged onto transports. 4 million humans were taken as slaves. 14 million were left dead. A civilization was erased. New Cascadia became a graveyard. When Earth's rescue ships arrived weeks later, there was nothing to save. Only ashes, only names, only grief. Humanity demanded justice. They went to the Galactic Concord, the council of ancient races that claimed to protect peace. Humanity asked for the return of its people, for punishment of the guilty, for assurance this would never happen again. The answer was laughter. The HFY defended their actions as natural. The strong take from the weak. The Concord offered money, credits to compensate for dead children. Slavery, they said, was an internal matter. Humanity was told to accept it, to move on, to know its place. That was the moment everything changed. Humanity returned home, silent but not defeated. They did not declare war, they did not threaten, they did not scream. They prepared. What followed were later called the Silent Years. For 3 decades, humanity rebuilt itself, not for comfort, but for survival. Entire economies shifted to hidden production. Shipyards vanished into asteroids. Science advanced in secrecy. Children were raised on the memory of New Cascadia. Names of the dead were taught like sacred history. 18 million reasons not to forget. The galaxy watched and saw nothing. To them, humans remained weak, passive, broken. They were wrong. 31 years after the massacre, 9,000 human warships emerged from the shadows of a dead star. No warnings were sent, no negotiations offered. The human fleet jumped directly into HFY space. What followed was not a war, it was a reckoning. HFY defenses collapsed under weapons they did not understand. Their fleets, once feared, were dismantled with surgical precision. Human forces avoided civilian targets. They struck command centers, shipyards, slave camps. Every enslaved human was recovered. Every responsible leader was captured. The architects of genocide were not executed. They were judged. Trials were broadcast across the galaxy. Evidence played in full view, burning cities, mass graves, children born in chains. The galaxy was forced to watch what it had ignored. The HFY Dominion ceased to exist as a power. And then humanity spoke, not with rage, with certainty. We do not seek conquest, they said, but we will never be prey again. The message was clear. Humanity had learned the galaxy's true language, not diplomacy alone, but strength guided by restraint, justice without cruelty, power without madness. New Cascadia was rebuilt, not as a colony, but as a memorial, a reminder written in stone and steel. Across the stars, a new truth settled in. Humans were no longer the young species to exploit. They were patient, they remembered,
and when pushed too far, they did not forget. They waited, and when they moved, they ended wars forever. Never again was not a promise, it was a warning.